Hello and welcome to the, I'm not even sure what this is anymore. I'm here with Dom as always. Dom, how are you doing?
I'm amazing, Sterny. Are you ready for the worst episode of the podcast so far?
I perhaps very naively assumed, it's a dreadful film, like awful, but I naively assumed there'd be a ton to research and unpack here. Absolutely nothing. This is gonna be...
I mean, it's a very interesting film. There's a bit to talk about. We're talking about Snuff today.
Snuff.
The night
We got tired of talking about good films.
Yeah, so we went for the worst film instead.
Well, that was my thought, was because we talked about like really good video nasties. We talked about Possession last week, for example, and I thought, well, most of them was shit. So let's talk about one so we can show the other side of the coin as just a low rent, completely Z grade, nothing, low effort movie. And this is one of the worst ones of the video nasties that I've seen, and I remember it being quite funny at points. So I thought, hey, let's go for this one. Not everything can be sort of Evil Dead level quality.
Yeah, I'd not seen this before, and you had, and you kept warning me that it was terrible, and you kept saying, "Dumb, this is gonna be horrible." I wasn't ready, Sturdy. I wasn't ready for what this was.
Like, I mean, where do you even begin with this film? Because it's rubbish, but the intent was just clearly they didn't give a fuck. Clearly there's no thought into this movie whatsoever. And it's just awful.
No, well, it has an insane production. Like, that's easily the most interesting thing about this. Like, the production and the publicity stunts around it, which we can get into. The film itself is nothing. Like, it's literally zero. Like, it's...
It The way, I think, just to sum it up in a sentence, it flips between being hilariously bad and boring. But most of it is in the boring category.
That's the worst thing about this film. It's called Snuff, and it's boring. Like
yeah, that's the thing. It sounds edgy as all hell. The fact this was a prosecutable film, I mean, this is a joke.
Yeah, it's 80 minutes long, and it felt like 3 hours. Like, I was so bored. Like,
I gotta say, in the first scene, I was like, oh, maybe this wasn't as bad as I remember it. Maybe now I've got a better understanding of genre and a bit more of an appreciation for these, like, lowest tier films. I was gonna enjoy it more, but nope, it's just bad. It's just, like, you have the action sequences, which are so funny. Like, so funny. Like, the blood is just red paint and it's so overdramatic. Like, it's either overdramatic or they just don't really care they've been murdered. Like, the second guy who gets killed and he gets stabbed in the back in the airport, he's like, oh no, I've been murdered.
yeah, it's absolutely hilarious. Also, the guy's called Satan, which is my favorite.
Satan.
Satan, sorry. Like,
with his, like, awful 60s hair. I mean, nothing has any depth. It's got the most simple plot on the planet, and yet it becomes incomprehensible at points. The cinematography is like some of the actual worst I've ever seen in my life. Like, the framing, they didn't give a fuck.
oh no, God, it's lots of shots of people's back as they talk and stuff like that. Right from the start. Like,
a lot of, let's go on a motorcycle ride, let's go in a speedboat. Let's, come on, pad this out. We got to get to 79 minutes or whatever this is.
oh yeah, well, it's the whole beginning. I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. The music and the them riding on the bike, and then I was like, this is just still going. They're still riding on a bike, and this music is still playing. What is going on?
You know what that scene and a few others reminded me of? Manos, the Hands of Fate.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Such a Manos film. But Manos is incredible.
I don't know. I think I'd rather watch this again than Manos. Manos is also hilarious, punctuated by long periods of boring.
Yeah, very true.
The first like 10 minutes of Manos is just driving, and that was because it was meant to have opening credits over it, but they didn't put them in. I would not be surprised to learn that was the case with this.
Oh, it seems the case. Like, because it is an opening credits thing with no opening credits, like, so clearly. And then when they start talking, oh my god. Like,
The dubbing. It's just no caring. There's just absolutely nothing. I mean, I think we got to talk about the music in that opening scene because it's just not Born to Be Wild.
it was Steppenwolf. Like, I was like, oh, the music Born to Be Wild, and then the guitar just kept like looping weirdly, and
it's got like a few like weird differences that just sound really unmusical, but it's as close as you can get to Born to Be Wild, not Born to Run, presumably without paying for it.
Yeah, and throughout the film they use weird like almost jazz bits that are just like that are horrific.
Like, I thought in the first scene, okay, maybe, because I had a half star in Letterboxd, I still have a half star. I thought maybe I'm gonna end up giving it to 1 because of the music, but after the first murder scene, there's no good music in it, and they changed. Did you notice at one point it was not Link Ray's Rumble? Like, it was so obviously that like dun dun dun, except it's completely unmusical and butchered, so you don't have to. So it's not Link Ray's Rumble, we promise.
Yeah, I mean, they seem to do that with a lot of the things where it's just like, this isn't this song. We promise this is a new song that we made entirely on our own.
But like, the film's trying to be counterculture, right? It's trying to be like, you know, post-Manson, counterculture hippies on bikes committing murders. You know, it's clearly going, because all the bloody motorcycles and she's wearing the like bikini with the American flag. It's clearly trying to be Easy Rider, except this is 1975.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's way past its prime. It's trying
way past
to do
its relevance.
Yeah.
You got like Wes Craven, like, you know, dismantling all that in Last House on the Left, and this is still. I mean, they don't care is the thing.
Yeah, they don't give a shit. I mean, it was made like, if you start reading about the production, it's insane. It was an entirely different film made by like a grindhouse husband and wife, and then was repurposed.
Repurposed. They added 2 minutes at the end.
Yeah, they added 2 minutes of a woman getting butchered by a film crew. Like,
I think we got to talk about the special effects before we get into the specifics, because like, so I mean, okay, who knows? Spoilers there. Like, so at the end it's like, and cut, and the joke is it's been a movie the whole time, even though the bit that's supposedly the real bit is as fake as the film, and then they murder someone, supposedly this time for real, but obviously not. But it's so fake. It reminded me of Tropic Thunder. You know, at the beginning of Tropic Thunder, when the like fake Vietnam movie.
Oh yeah. I could see that definitely with like the. It's so hilariously bad. Like, and this was controversial. Well, we should get into that eventually as well. How it's not actually controversial, but.
But like that, the hand like coming off. It's like. It's not even like, it's, you know, how easy is it? Like, people make cheap gore films all the time, right? Especially in the 70s and 80s. But, like, it's just bought from a costume shop. It's like a gag thing children get for the Halloween costumes. You know, the post office probably sold them, you know, around Halloween. And this was meant, like, it really looks like that. Like, that's not an exaggeration.
Oh, yeah.
This had to be, you know, if you sold a copy of this, it was a prosecutable offense. This was going to corrupt our children, this joke of a movie.
And it was all genius marketing by the
That's
distributor.
all the film was. This is an exploitation film, so pure that they were exploiting this idea that when VHS started, that there were really snuff films being distributed. So they turned their awful slasher film and added 2 minutes at the end where it turns into the Holy Mountain, where they go and cut. Oh wait, now we're murdering someone for real. And then they marketed it with the tagline, it could only be shot in South America where life is cheap. And it worked because our government is stupid.
I was going to talk about that as well. Like, could we talk about how racist the tagline is as well?
Yeah, famously, you just go to South America and murder people, and it's fine.
In South America, where life is cheap, like...
No, where making movies are cheap and probably tax-free.
Yeah, could we... Like... I hate to say stuff like this because it's such a but I think give us 30k, we could make a better film than this. Like,
oh no, it's true. I mean, give us the budget of a Neil Breen film, we could make an give us 30k. Well, yeah, but they made a product to try and push out real quick and make a profit in a few weeks, which it did. It grossed 10 times more than the budget.
Oh, well, yeah, it makes sense. All the publicity stunts they did with, like, the fake protests and stuff. It's genius. Like,
Also, right? 30k in 1975, not 30k now. Like, god damn it, because this is the worst one we've done. Megan is Missing. Megan is Missing was like 30k 10 years ago, and it is a higher caliber of production. I can't believe I said those words.
I can't believe you just said that, but it might be true. And I hate to say it.
God, like they did not care. Like this acting is like, the people are just saying stuff. Like, my favorite scene in the film is when they murder the shopkeeper for no reason, and then the grandma comes out, and then they murder her for no reason, and then the kid's like, Mama! Mama! Mama!
Oh, no.
Just watch that scene on YouTube. That's hilarious.
Yeah, just find scenes from this. Don't watch this film. Jesus Christ.
I mean, if you got some friends around, you could probably chat enough through the, like, actual boring bits.
Yeah.
There's some really bad... Do you remember when the actress, she gets off the plane and the first question the journalist asked her, I was like, are you gonna be nude in your new movie?
That's what we do now. That's how we do it. Look, oh my god, this
also,
film.
when it's meant to be night and they just put like a blue tint on the daylight footage, and you can see the sun. You can see where the sun is shining, but they've just put a blue tint.
And it's like, just film at night, man. It's not that difficult. Like, just wait a few hours.
I mean, then you need lighting. This is easier.
True. Very true. Then you need lights.
Oh, and also, like, you know, the editing in this, I'm prepared to call it avant-garde.
Yeah, like, this could be studied as some avant-garde masterpiece of editing if you wanted to go that way.
It's like, it just cuts to random things in the scene that nothing is. I mean, I think they just wanted to use every shot they filmed, presumably, or they were trying to cover up mistakes consistently were being made.
Yeah, I imagine that's where it is. Like, because weren't it, like, originally filmed without sound and everything? Because the actors didn't understand English. It's like, it's insane. Like,
that's fairly cut, and also then you don't need to get a boom mic. Then you can have like you know, at the end when it's like, and you know, it cuts to the supposed real bit, or the bit that's meant to be super subversive or whatnot. I was like, they did not have a film crew this big shooting this film.
No, God, no.
Film crew in that.
No, it was two people.
This very much reminded me of, it's the film I've not seen, but Red Letter Media have talked about, Bloodshack or The Trooper.
Oh, okay, yeah, I've not seen it either, but I've seen them talk about it.
But, like, you know when they're like, they shoot a rodeo for 5 minutes and the rodeo was happening? Carnival scene.
Carnival, yeah, the carnival scene.
Wait, let's continue this conversation at the carnival. Cut to footage they didn't shoot, or they shot with, like, actual consumer-grade camcorders.
These filmmakers were literally like, oh, a carnival's come to town, let's go film there. Randomly. Like,
I'm surprised this hasn't been on Best of the Worst yet.
No, I'm very surprised I've not seen more people talk about it, you know. Because does this have any cult status, Sturdy? Do people actually like this? Like,
Well, I was trying to think, because this was past uncut in 2003, but there's no UK release, and I was trying to work out who would buy this. Because it's got an American Blu-ray, which I gotta say the restoration's pretty good on it, that Blue Underground did in 2013. But, like, I was also trying to work out, is there even the smallest cult following to this? I mean, because the video nasties in general do have cult followings as a category, and I guess this falls into that. But outside of that, does anyone even think this is memorable?
Well, yeah, exactly, because we'd heard of it, is the thing. So if we'd heard of it, it had to have come from somewhere, right?
Well, I heard of this because I was watching a documentary on the video nasties called like Draconian Days or something. It was a very good documentary. It's like 3 hours. It was on the Horror Channel or something. And they were like, you know, most of them were rubbish, and the clip they used to illustrate that was Snuff. It wasn't even like Don't Go Into the Woods Alone. Like, this is what they thought was the worst one. And I was like, it was the final scene where, you know, they're cutting her hand off, and it is like a cheap $2 Halloween costume thing. And I thought, I have to watch this movie.
Yeah, I mean, it's so bad. I was trying to make notes for this film, and I think I ended up just writing bad down. That was literally it.
The first 2 bullet points I have are low effort and rubbish.
Yeah, that sums it up perfectly. Like,
and I think you can still find the original version of this somewhere, because when you look at all the actors, they've been in nothing, but except this and The Slaughter, which is what this was originally called. So maybe the original version is lying about somewhere.
Yeah, but I mean, it's literally just that end bit cut off, isn't it? Like.
Oh god, and the flashback sequence as well. This is when it starts to lose me. I'm like, who is this? What's happening?
Well,
Where she's like,
I couldn't name a single fucking character except Satan. Like
Satan. What was her? Was the main character's name Alex? The woman in it. This doesn't really have a main character. Alex London. Oh my god! What about that weird scene with like he's an arms dealer?
Yes. Oh my god. I feel like I watched this yesterday and I've already blanked out things from it. Like, I hated it that much. Like,
it's just so... It's so bad. I mean, there's got to be... I don't think there is, but if there's a compilation on YouTube of all the funny scenes, that would probably be about 15 minutes. Watch that. I think if you've got friends round, I think there is reason enough to watch this. If you already like dive deep into bad movies, like, you might as well do this. But like, you know, I'm trying to think what to compare this to, like similar tonally and filmmaking wise. Like Chopping Mall or something, but that's a lot more fun.
No,
that's very bad.
Chopping Mall is really fun though, and I love the soundtrack. But
oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, I've seen Don't Go Into the Woods Alone, which is boring as well. Like, that's on a similar level to this, and that's also just boring and nothing, and a low-effort movie that somehow... I mean, this is what a lot of the video nasties were, and you think, wow, can't believe it. If the Driller Killer just had different box art, maybe all of history would have been altered.
Yeah, exactly. I love how it's the Driller Killer. But that's the thing, like, again, like, how were these so controversial? Like, they're bad. And it's not like anybody could have been fooled by this, right? Like, we're not talking about the fucking 20s. Like, this is the 1970s. Like, it's like...
Because... It was a moral panic whipped up by the box art for the Driller Killer, because if anyone's actually seen the Driller Killer, it's boring.
Yeah, the Driller Killer's...
Where a guy gets murdered by a drill, and it doesn't look anywhere near as realistic as the box art does.
It's an interesting, like, moral panic thing. Because it's like, people were arrested because of this film, because they were going and smashing up the poster cases and stuff. And it's like... because somebody sprayed some blood on a Halloween costume. Like, it's insane. Like,
it's always like this. We just have a habit of blaming bloody movies or games. I mean, it's not just us, America. I mean, I'd highly recommend everyone watch Bowling for Columbine, in America, and how they tried to blame, you know, massive systemic issues and problems with guns on, you know, Marilyn Manson and Doom. Because like they had the Jamie Bulger murders, and they tabloids got a hold of because the guy had rented Child's Play 3. Like Child's Play 3 is like a comedy.
Yeah, exactly. Like Child's Play is a doll killing people, for God's sake. It's not like
this was at a time where Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2 had to be cut because he got 2 sausages and used them as a nunchuck, and they were told the filmmakers that it's either getting an 18 rating or they have to cut that out.
Wow, it's absolutely mental. Like,
because I Spit on Your Grave, Cannibal Holocaust, you see it, you understand how shocking and boundary pushing those were, regardless of their overall quality. But this is a nothing movie, and by putting it on this list, people went out and watched it.
Well, yeah, exactly. That's the thing. It had literally the opposite effect of what they wanted. Like, all of these films became known and became these like big cult things because they tried to ban it. I mean, looking through our history, you tried to ban something, people just want it more.
I mean, I don't even know what more there is to say about this movie. Is there any other funny scenes we've not mentioned?
I don't know. It's so insane. It's like, I was like, what can I even say about this apart from going through every single point about the movie and being like, well, this is bad, and this is also bad that's about the movie. Like, I can't think of a redeeming thing.
There isn't really a redeeming thing in it, you're right. I guess the first weird jazzy bongo track was aight. It's funny at points.
It is, yeah.
Unintentionally.
That's the thing. But it's not like so bad it's good. Like, it's nowhere near that kind of thing, because it's just boring.
The ending, right? Okay. I mean, the thing is, the intent of this was to make money, and they didn't care artistically, so it's kind of hard to critique it. But if they had done the first half was cut this in half, and then all the bits before the supposed real murder, are just, you condense that to the funniest, worst bits, and maybe add some sort of a few jokes here and there and whatnot. And then halfway through you call cut, and then the next one cut of the dead, about 40 minutes, and then you have 40 more minutes of a different film that's suddenly really well done and really realistic about people murdering people on cameras, and you still wouldn't have a good movie. You'd have complete tonal whiplash, but you'd have a cult movie there. You'll have something at least worth talking about.
Oh, well, yeah, exactly. Like, you did something like that, like One Cut of the Dead type thing. It could be interesting. You could say something, and don't just have this weird twist thing happen 2 minutes at the end. And I know why it happened, because of the whole insane production of it. Like, a guy just went, oh, I'll release this with a real quotation marks death at the end, and
it just doesn't surprise me that's what happened, because when you're watching it, when initially they zoom out to the film crew, you think something clever is about to happen, or the filmmakers have a self-awareness about what they've done.
Did you think it was the Holy Mountain?
No, because I think they were very Alejandro Jodorowsky inspired.
Yeah.
But they clearly didn't, because the bits after that are as bad as the rest of the movie.
Well, yeah, exactly. That's the whole point. Like, this, when you pull the camera back or do something like that, it's supposed to mean something. It's supposed to say anything. Not just, look what we did. That's all this is. It's such a, look what we did kind of thing.
My God. I mean, what a waste of an evening. This was... I knew it, and I chose this over some other really bad ones we have, because it doesn't really make you mad or anything. It's just a movie, and I kind of couldn't be asked to rewatch The August Underground or The Devil's Honey or anything like that. And after watching it, I thought I almost would have rather something like actually objectionable or actually like, you know,
we could have
bad in a way you can dissect.
Yeah, with like those, because I've not watched many of the bad ones yet. A lot of the ones we're doing, or the ones I have seen, are a lot of the like cult classic, real good films. Whereas a lot of the bad ones, I'm like, well, I'm gonna have to watch them for this, I guess. Like, I've not seen August Underground or Devil's Honey or anything like that. But I feel like I could have got riled up at those at least.
Yeah. Both of those have, like, artistic intent. You know, of one kind or another. Like, okay, maybe the intent of the August Underground is that there is no intent. But, like, it's a nihilistic film. This isn't nihilistic. This is nothing.
No, there's no, like a lot of the films we watch are nihilistic, and you can at least say that about them. But this hasn't even got that. Like, it's not gritty, really. It's not dirty or anything. It's not saying, look how much life sucks. It's just some people stabbing some people, and the people not even really reacting to getting killed. Like, it's insane. Like,
it's so funny, the murder. Please, everyone, if you're still listening, Google the bit where they kill the guy in the corner shop. It's so funny. It's like so funny. That's like, if there was more of that, you'd have yourself a great bad film. But you don't. You have people walking around saying stuff.
Well, yeah, exactly. Like, at least cut out the bits where it's just people saying stuff or riding on X vehicle for 10 minutes and saying stuff. Like, we don't need that.
Do you remember, like, the police interrogation scene where, like, she's with him, like, basically just before he's being murdered, and then they're like, oh, yeah, you can go.
Yeah, no.
Not important for this investigation.
It's like the real criminal justice system. Anyway.
Wow, should we do final thoughts?
I think so. I think I have no more thoughts. No thoughts, just snuff.
I mean, watch some clips on this on YouTube. If you really want to get some friends around and watch it and have a bit of a laugh and, you know, maybe chat a bit during this, you know, it could be good for that. But I think ultimately what this film shows is just how absurd that Video Nasty scare was, and also that not all that stuff is, because most of the stuff in that's remembered for reasons other than being a Video Nasty were pretty boundary pushing works of art to one degree or another, many of them highly, highly flawed, but a lot of them were also just this.
Yeah, I think
they made their money.
Yeah. I think that's the one thing you can add is this film shows that not all of those films were good. Like, just because it got banned or it was seen as controversial, definitely not a stamp of it meaning anything.
I mean, not only just they were bad, but they were like, I mean, nothing. Like, if I wonder, maybe I should look this up before, if this has got a 15 rating. I would really imagine it.
Oh yeah, I mean, I can't.
No, it's an 8. It's an 18 rating, but from 2000.
Is that because of drugs, though, I assume?
Oh my god, we forgot all the comical drug use. Like, at the beginning, I think she's meant to be smoking a joint, but it's a cigarette.
It's just a cigarette, yeah. You got any other good stuff, Sterling?
And that's always when you know they've done their research, when they refer to everything as stuff.
Yeah, where every drug is the good stuff.
God, the blood in this is just paint or, like, ketchup. What's this even... I mean... What? Like, it's almost a work of genius, the fact that you can make a script with, like, nothing in it. Like, they did. Phil, 79 minutes was absolutely nothing.
I know. I love how...
Well done.
You've lost your mind so much you've gone to this is a work of genius. Like...
My god. Dom, I think we should make a movie.
Yeah, let's make Snuff 2. Fuck it. We're making Snuff 2.
Shot in 2020 Britain because life is cheap.
Where life is cheap. Tory Britain, where life is cheap. Oh, that's the best tagline ever. We need to save that one.
God damn. Okay, I mean, yeah.
And on that bombshell.
So, next week, good movie.
Yeah, you can announce the good one, Stenny. You go for it.
So since we had this idea, this is a film we wanted to do because it's a hot take we both have because it's a film that was just sort of coolly received, like 2-star reviews, 3-star reviews, thereabouts. We both think is like properly excellent, flawed but excellent. And we also get to talk about music as well. It is the biopic of Mayhem, of the band Mayhem, Lords of Chaos, and it's a real good film. And me and Dom are going to be mounting a very staunch defense of this as like a proper artistic work.
Yeah, definitely. I will have a whole lot to talk about on the next episode.
Have you only seen it once?
I've only seen it once when we went to the cinema, yeah.
You're going to find, I think, that it's even better on second watch. I think I have actually seen it 3 times, so this will be the 4th I've watched it, and there's just more and more to appreciate, and you can kind of look past more and more of the flaws with each watch.
Amazing.
But thank you for wasting 30 minutes of your life with us just
Thank you for wasting your time on Snuff.
Think of all the things you could have been doing for the last half hour, and you listened to us talk about stuff.
Yeah, you're 30 minutes closer to death, and that was what you did.
Take care, everyone.
Thank you.
You've been listening to the Extreme Cinema Podcast with Alexander Sternberg and Dom Loach. If you enjoyed this podcast, please consider subscribing as it really helps us out. The original artwork for the podcast was done by George Arnold. The Extreme Cinema Podcast, available where all good podcasts are available.